You're watching Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. It's the only podcast offering unfiltered guidance and direct advice for anyone in the financial services and wealth management industry. Learn more today at eliteconsultingpartners.com/podcast. And now, here's your host, Frank LaRosa.
Well, that is a wrap, folks. I'm in my car in my normal everyday wear. I'm not in the woods right now, so I'm a little sad. It was a great week. Lots of lessons learned from this week. Some of them are, go with your gut and trust your instinct when you've been doing something long enough. As an example, on the third day, I was put in a spot that I just didn't really care for. There's a lot of snow on the ground on a day where all the other fields were melted off because of the sun. So I just had a feeling that the deer are just not going to come down into that valley when there's vegetation and food that they can get up top. And so my gut, told me to tell the guide to move me, and I did. And probably within 3 hours of me moving, excuse me, I shot a really nice 3x3 mule deer. So in an area that was a bowl, that was sort of a funnel, lots of vegetation, no snow, and it worked out for me. So that's sort of one of the things that I learned. Sort of like when you're a financial advisor, and if you're just feeling that the firm that you're at is not the right firm anymore, you have this gut feeling, you've been doing this long enough, you should listen to that gut feeling because it's usually right. The other thing is that when it's hunting and running a practice and making a move is all about preparation. When you hunt, you have to really think about everything. You have to think about all the details, prepare your gear. On the last day, we sort of rushed out because of the time change, so we sort of got that a little messed up. And the night before, I hadn't really prepared my gear the way I normally do, so that even when I'm tired, I go through an automatic process, habits and rituals, and put all my stuff on. And the third day, I sort of just messed that up because I was a little bit tired from coming in the night before from getting my deer, and we got back late. And on the fourth day when we ran out, I was out in the woods, and I'm wondering why I was a little colder than usual. And I realized that I was missing an outer layer of pants and another mid layer of a jacket that I usually wear. I have everything in a certain order. So sort of not messed up my day, but I was a little bit chilly on the last day, and I don't like to be chilly when I hunt, even though it's sort of an oxymoron because you're going to be when it's cold out. But when you're an advisor and you're making a move, same thing. You have to think about the preparing for your move, pre-move and post-move. Making sure your preparation before you move is critical to having a successful transition. Paying attention to every single detail, listening to everybody when they tell you to prepare certain things, documents that you can and cannot take, client lists that you can and cannot take, really talking to your team, understanding where you're going, understanding the firm that you're going to, and all the details of the platforms that they have, and preparing to make sure that your investments can move over, different annuities, different carriers that you use, different SMA managers, different portfolio management systems that you use. All of those things are critical in having a successful move. The other thing too that is critical is understanding the landscape. When you hunt, and it's very interesting because when you first get in, it's dark and you sort of glass the area to understand what it looks like. But then once it gets light out, you can see the landscape. And really understanding the landscape and the terrain around you is really, really critical in a successful hunt. Making sure that you are situated in an area that's optimal for success. And my friend Brian was in an area last night where he was, and he had the right terrain. He set himself up. He actually moved about 20 yards up so he can see a broader area. And unfortunately, he was able to get a shot on an elk, but we're not sure whether or not he got it or not. There wasn't too much blood, and so they're gonna have to go back today and find it. I don't think he killed it. There wasn't enough blood for an animal that size. But understanding your terrain is really important. It's no different than an advisor when you've decided, you listen to your gut and you've decided that you're going to make a move. Understanding the terrain that's out there and what it looks like, all the different firms that are out there. And what makes a hunt successful is the guides that you work with, because these guides know the area. They know the patterns of the deer, of the animals. They know the landscape, the terrain, the valleys, the gullies, where the creeks are, where the feeding is. And so, it's just like when you're making a move, working with a financial consultant or transition consultant like us at Elite Consulting Partners. We know the terrain, right? We know the firms that are good, the firms that aren't that great, the firms that have really good culture, the firms that say they have really good culture, but maybe they don't. We know understanding your situation. So for instance, my friend Brian was in a spot where his shooting range was going to be north of 500 yards, and he didn't have the right size caliber rifle, in my opinion, to shoot that far to hit an elk. He used a 30-06. He should have been using a 300 Win Mag. And so, actually, ironically, he's a client of mine. That's how I met him, and now we're really good friends. But when you're making a move as an advisor, understanding the terrain is really, really important. We understand your business, your practice, what it looks like, your situation, right? What equipment do you have? What equipment are you using? What does your team look like? What kind of client that you have? And then we can help you and set you up in the right place to be successful, bringing you to the right firm to be successful. Because everybody that you talk to when you're an advisor, if you're doing it on your own and you're talking to these different recruiters or different managers, they're all going to tell you why they're the best thing since sliced bread. They're all going to tell you why they're the best location for you. And it's not that they're not being truthful, because they believe that that's where they're at. So they have to say that. It's our job to sift through some of that stuff and some of the noise, as I call it, with what's real. Sort of like the old commercial, what's real versus Memorex, right? What's real and what's going to be appropriate for you. So those are the types of things that I always think about when I go hunting, that there's so many parallels to advisors transitioning when you're working with somebody. And one of the things I've really seen, especially for this week, because I got to work with some good guides, and so we switch guides every day. Some of them were really good, and some of them not so great. One guide, I can tell he sort of really wasn't into it too much. I mean, he was there, but he just wasn't as into it as the other guides, and wasn't as passionate about his area that he was bringing us to as the other guides were. And so the day just didn't work out the way, or didn't feel great. Even though on that day I actually got a deer, but that was because of my decision and going with my gut. He would have left me there the whole time. I wasn't thrilled about it. So, that's my takeaways. I hope you enjoyed everything that I was posting on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram and you're not following on Instagram, it's franklarosa.elite. Check me out on LinkedIn, and also my Facebook page. If you have any questions or you want to talk about making a move to another firm, you can email me at frank@eliteconsultingpartners.com. Feel free to call me, 856-316-4651. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helped.
Thanks for watching Advisor Talk with Frank LaRosa. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out some of our other episodes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you back here next week.